Greg Powers, Dave Campbell's Texas football, and we're out here at day 2 of the Texas State 7-on-7 championships, and I'm with my friend Matt Stepp. Kind of break down the action today. We kicked it off with the D2 and D3 bracket play down to the championship, and then the D1 pool play. So tons of teams on the field. Tidehaven walked away with the D3 title belt, and of course Frisco Panther Creek walked away with the D2 title belt. And you can catch more from Mallory Hartley and Carter Yates on our 7-on-7 recap show on Saturday. But Matt, put a bow on D2 and D3 for us. Give us your most important takeaway from the action.
Well, I think my most important takeaway is that on Tap and Step, I picked Tidehaven to win D3 and Frisco Panther Creek in D2. Football genius right here, ball knower. Remember that. I think first off, Tidehaven, great run by them. Got to the championship game last year. They win it this year. Great job by those guys. And then Panther Creek and Kilgore. I wasn't there, but multiple people have told me that was among the best 7-on-7 games I've ever seen. It was a classic. Can't wait for you to see the highlights on the recap show Saturday at 3.
Now, we're going to have to turn the page to D1, right? And tons of talent on the field. Everywhere you look, D1 players playing in the D1 bracket. A lot of teams lived up to expectations. Some didn't. Give us some of the teams that you watched today that you felt like really passed the test.
Let's start. The game of the day, I think, was DeSoto and Willis. It was must-see TV over there on Field 9. We were over there. Jermaine Bishop put on an absolute show for Willis, but DeSoto comes away with the win, 26-25. The defending state champs in 7-on-7 come away with a hard-fought 1-point win over Willis. Both those teams will be in the championship game, but Jermaine Bishop put on the performance of the day, in my opinion, in that game. The surprise of the day probably was PSJA North. Going 3-0 over there in Pool F with Argyle, Klein, and Hutto. The Raiders, PPR in the house, getting to the 3-0 and a top seed in the championship bracket. A couple other teams that really I thought impressed me throughout the day. I thought Anna with their 3-0 performance, winning their pool, looked really good. Louisville looked strong. Over there, Woodlands College Park with a big win over Lake Travis to win their pool. So those are a few of the teams that impressed me overall throughout the day. And then we can't forget about South Oak Cliff, first ever state 7-on-7 appearance. I went to their first game against Shadow Creek. It was 12-12 late. Sox defense comes up with 2 interceptions late in the game, including a pick 6 to help the Golden Bears win 24-12. South Oak Cliff went 3-0 in their 7-on-7 debut. They're in the winner's bracket. They're going to play another surprise team, Waco High, and in the winner's bracket tomorrow morning at 8:45.
I got to ask you then, you were bragging on your pick of Tidehaven. Who did you pick in D1? How did they perform?
The Woodlands was my pick in D1, and they did win Pool B. They went 3-0, led by TCU commit Jack Dalton at quarterback. The Highlanders had a good day, played a lot of great defense. Their secondary is one of the most underrated secondaries in the state of Texas. They've got some playmakers in their secondary, and they did a great job on the defensive side of the ball. I watched a little bit of their win over Amarillo Paladuro, beating them 12-7. So when you hold a team to 7 points in 7-on-7, you're doing something right on the defensive side of the ball.
A lot of talented players out on the field today as well, and I'm going to just shout out a couple of guys that stood out to me whenever I watched them in action, and that was Argyle Liberty Christian's Cooper Witten, a 2027 recruit, definitely passes the eyeball test. What I was most impressed with is that he was able to high point a ball in the end zone kind of on a fade and showed off his athleticism. I'll be honest, I didn't know he had that in his bag of tricks. Mm-hmm. And then Pflugerville Weiss, 2027 wide receiver Trey Moore. Oh, man, this dude, he's huge, strong, fast, athletic, knows how to use his body to shield defenders from the football, and he's only going to get better with age now that he's stepping into the spotlight that Adrian Wilson left behind now that he's going on to college. So those are a couple of the top prospects who caught my eye out there as well. Anything to wrap us up with, Step?
Yeah, one prospect that I saw that I really liked was El Paso Pella Hills 2029 tight end Noah Tarrant. You will definitely hear about him in our notebook. You talk about a kid who's going to rise up the recruiting ranks. He's already got an early A&M offer. Me and Mike Roach and Carter Yates watched his game against Humble. He went off in that game. Noah Tarrant, 2028 tight end from El Paso Pebble Hills, a name to know.
Matt, we always appreciate you putting on for El Paso. I know the people down in the 915 really appreciate it as well. For the guru of 7-on-7, Matt Stepp, I'm Greg Powers. Keep it locked on Dave Campbell's Texas Football. TexasFootball.com for all your 7-on-7 scores and everything under the Friday Night Lights.